What's going on, guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of Door Kickers 2 Task Force North. We've been using this game called Door Kickers 2 and applying realistic and authentic modern-day tactics and doctrine in infantry and close quarters battle sort of situations. And today we're taking a look at a custom map. The title of the map is Pine Barrens, and this was recommended in one of the latest updates to the game back in July, I guess it was, when Door Kickers finally launched the QRF update. And this was one of the curated maps that the developers over at Kill House recommended. I love the geometry and the layout of this map. I think it presents an awesome opportunity to talk about some of the fundamentals of close fighting and explain it in this game. And it just looks like a blast. I don't know much about it. I have not watched any videos on it. I do know that it is an eliminate all terrorists mission, which means we are going in pretty hard, pretty violent, and the plan here is just to deliberately clear through this entire structure and try to get all of our boys out safely. And if you haven't yet purchased this game, I'd certainly invite you guys to do that. If you are fans of tactical planning games, of any sort of military simulation, if you appreciate authenticity in the way that you plan and just really appreciate these sort of like top-down, active pause, puzzle-style strategy games, this is the one. It's available over at my game store at nexus.gg/controlledpairsgaming. And if you choose to purchase it from my game store, you'll actually end up supporting the channel a little bit as well. And I appreciate each of you guys who choose to support the game and support my channel in that way. So today we are bringing 4 assaulters to the fight. We've got Drummer, Philly, Minnow, and we have Neo, Terra, Rex as well. And so pretty solid crew. These are folks that have been with us for the years, just about at this point, as we've been featuring Door Kickers on the channel. And 3 of these dudes are assaulters. That's Drummer, Philly, and Minnow. Each of them have a similar kit. Drummer up here is running a Mark 18 suppressed with an EO tech, and I think we got full metal jackets. Nope, green tent. I'm going to switch this over to sauce ball, I think. Yeah, it's a 62 grain. It's going to have, I guess we're going to go EPR. I'm going to go EPR for everybody. The enhanced precision round gives you more muzzle velocity, more penetration, better terminal ballistics. And it looks like, at least on the chart in the game, that it's going to give you a superior crit chance as well. But each of these guys is running a Mark 18 suppressed. They've got customized Glock 19s with little RMR, an extended magazine there, maybe a custom trigger. And for whatever reason, you see that their rear sight aperture, the rear sight post, is actually in front of the RMR, which is not a build that I've seen very common. There's also a compensator on this, which is kind of cool. It's essentially like a Roland special lookalike. They're running next-gen helmets, which is not very cool. There are high cuts in here that emulate the ops cores that we're used to seeing throughout the GWAT. These next-gen helmets provide better protection. That's why I've tended to use them in the game recently. And then we've got level 4 sappies, both front plates and side plates. For those of you guys out there who've rocked these before, you know exactly how uncomfortable that is. These are big and heavy, but they can take, they can take a shot from a high velocity rifle round. And in a fight like this, where we're expecting a whole lot of shooting and only 4 dudes to do it, we want to be able to protect ourselves. Drummer here's got frags, bangs, and a wall shot. Philly's got bangs, frags, and a breaching shotgun. So you see there we have 2 different mechanisms for breaching, both explosive, and we also have ballistic. Here I've got 3 slap charges, so more explosive options to get into doors. And then finally down here, if we look at our Neo Terra Rex, this is a gunner. This is a machine gunner. He's running a Mark 48, which is kind of a modified 240 Bravo. It's lighter. Takes off some of the weight. You can, operate it with one individual. As a result of that, you don't necessarily need an assistant gunner or an ammo bearer, which is why it got so popular during the global war on terror. We do have a can on it. Anytime you put a can on a belt fed, it has a tendency to melt, but suppressors are cool, and so we run it. It does have just Mark 80, 147 grade full metal jacket, and then an MGO 3.4 by on it, your standard M145 machine gun optic. For pistols, do I have a Gucci Glock available for this guy? I don't. So because he doesn't have a custom Glock, he's just running a standard Glock 22 with irons and full metal jacket. Also has the next gen helmet and the nods, sappies, frags, smokes, and an AT4. And someone pointed out recently that if you have nods equipped to your players or your characters, they actually have reduced field of vision. So for that reason, I'm going to take nods off of these guys, even though that is a huge hit to our cool points, which is unfortunate. So that's what we got working on here. So if we take a look at this fight, we have a compound here. It's a compound with evidence that there's activity external to the compound, and there's also two connecting structures. One of those, the garage over here. one of those, a storage area over here. If we start looking a little bit closely, kind of working from outside to in, we immediately see a technical vehicle, probably a Toyota Hilux, because we know that's how they like to roll. It's got weapon crates in the background, including what looks like an AT4 here, and then a 50 or a Dishka mounted on top. Nothing really of note in the garage, 4-door sedan. You know, when we start thinking about how many combatants we might be looking at here, I like to count vehicles and beds and things like that that are indicators of, you know, what the typical pattern of life would support in the way of individuals present. This car's not operable, so we don't count that. This technical vehicle could hold 5. This, you know, could hold an additional 5. This over here could hold an additional 5. So we're looking at 15 if we're just counting vehicles. If we look inside, we see kind of like a barracks, you know, area for sleeping over here. Anytime I see a bunch of shitty mattresses in close quarters, especially when you add weapon systems to it, I'm immediately thinking like this is a place where military-age males, combatants, are hanging out and going to be prepared to fight. So this is a military-style compound. We see AKs laying around, things like that. Lots of weapons, lots of evidence of nefarious activity. We also see evidence that activity is happening outside right now. We have a fire burning in the rain, chairs right around it. Why would you have a fire outside in the rain? Well, it's cold. But why would you be outside in the rain? Well, because you're pulling guard. You know, everyone else in their right mind is going to go inside and get warm. But if you're a bad guy and you have a vested interest in protecting something, you're going to post sentries and LPOPs or listening posts and observation posts to get a good idea of what's going on in the world around you and provide early warning for all these other dudes that might be in here doing bad stuff. So I'm expecting a guard presence of some sort, at least 3 dudes here, maybe one's up walking around. And then there's also, you know, possibility of folks being over, hanging out over here. Garage doors open, so these folks may have just arrived. We could see some foot traffic back and forth. I could choose to spawn up here with only 4 guys. I'm going to try to keep everybody reasonably close together so they can mutually support one another. And if we look inside, primary breach is actually over here, it looks like. But, you know, what we know about primary breaches is that we don't take them. This primary breach would have us, well, they've got this here too. So there's 2 options. You have a breach over here, you have a breach over here. This actually looks like the front door, but we've got all glass right here, so that's going to be super challenging. It does give us the benefit of potentially being able to work this angle and pie off this angle as we move. But if this door opens up or if there's a barricaded shooter kind of concealed in these spots, they're going to be able to take pot shots at us as we move. So that incurs risk on our behalf. Then as soon as we turn this corner, we're also exposed from any sort of counterattack coming this way, or a barricaded shooter hanging a muzzle out of that curtained off window and spraying us down. So pretty challenging there. And once we get inside, you know, with only 4 guys, we kind of need to keep it relatively tight. We've got a corner fed here, corner fed here, corner fed into a giant living space here, kind of a center fed there, corner fed there, center fed there. Bunch of really challenging clears. Some of these doors are going to come open as we are compromised, which is going to present an additional challenge. We have 1 locked door here. We should be able to clear most of that from outside through that window. So I'm going to take this pretty slow. I'm going to try to do it in 1 shot. General plan of attack here is going to be to post up my machine gunner right here to provide some rear security from the battle position. 1 machine gunner by himself may not be able to win the fight, but he can at least lay down suppression. So if he is compromised, we can flex back to him and support. So 1 machine gunner right here, that's going to be Neo Terra Rex. The rest of my assaulters are going to flow up this way. I'm going to work the pie as we kind of described right here, end up clearing long, and then based off what type of enemy contact we have experienced, we will either make the decision to assault through this breach or to swing back down here and conduct combat clearance from the external portions of this compound before ultimately committing to going inside. So that's kind of the plan. Let's see how it shakes out for us. Everyone's quiet right now by design. First thing I'm going to do is have 2 men clear long, just do kind of an initial security sweep. And yeah, this is a gunfight already. So we're going to go loud right away. I'm going to get frags out right away. We know we're going to start likely receiving handhelds ourselves in the very near future. So with all that in mind, I'm putting frags both high and low, telling everyone they don't need to be quiet anymore. I also want to get this machine gun into the fight as fast as I can. Once he's in position, he's going to be suppressing deep. That looks good. I do trust that Drummer here will be able to take a couple of initial accurate shots, at least long enough to give us the advantage. We are, as soon as we get this cleared, going to need to push over here and establish this battle position. So our initial plan here is a battle position oriented this way and a battle position oriented this way, fight in place until we win this immediate engagement. And then once this immediate engagement is won, we'll go ahead and continue clearance kind of in accordance with the plan that I described. All right, we've fired suppressed shots. I can't tell if we've got... I can't believe how fast we won that. It's been a while since I played door kickers, and I forget how freaking good my operators are. I'm going to have Philly push long. I don't think I lose a whole lot by doing that, at least initially. I'm going to have you bump across while we do that, and I'm still going to have my machine gunner, when he's done with this, get up here and establish. Security, obviously something that we want to consider at all times. There we go. What's this guy got? 47S folded, and we've got Philly facing off against him. We talk about security. That just means we want to have good situational awareness at all of our surroundings at all times. We accomplish this by pointing guns places where bad guys might hurt us. In this situation, we know bad guys can come from up here. We know bad guys can come from over here. You'll notice that I pushed this dude long, but when I did that, I wanted his flank protected. I didn't want him triggering any angles that would have him engaged from what I would describe as the north on the map, so we slide over Drummer in that process. We're going to go ahead and continue this fight, see if we can take out this grunt insurgent. I'm pretty comfortable with Philly's ability to do that. Gonna let it breathe for a second. We have been compromised. We understand that the fundamentals and the core tenets of CQB are speed, surprise, and violence of action. There's a tendency when you hear speed to mean, a lot of people interpret that as just moving as fast as you possibly can. While that is true in some scenarios, particularly, hostage rescue, speed is really the ability to engage targets the moment that they appear. So not necessarily the speed that you move through the duration of the operation, but rather the speed from the time that you identify a threat to the time that that threat is dead. So it's about setting conditions and moving from room to room, threat area to threat area. And then when you make the decision to commit to that threat area or to that room, you do it with significant speed in order to destroy threats rapidly. And by doing that, you're generating violence of action and surprise. So that's kind of the way that those tenets mutually support one another. We've cleared successfully long here. I'm going to go ahead and move my machine gunner over to establish that planned battle position. While he moves over, I'm also going to pie off this corner to determine that it is in fact clear. It is. We'll come back and hold this angle. All right, now I'm satisfied that this BP is established, BP slang term for battle position, and we're going to start bounding the homies up here. When we say bounding, we just mean we've got people pulling cover. Simultaneously, we have people moving. So there's always someone committed to protect your buddy while he's moving. In this case, I move forward Philly so that I can now start moving forward his buddies. We're not going to bypass this. We've got dead space uncleared right here, so we know that before we press past that dead space, we're going to have to clear that portion. So these dudes will move up online, providing security long, He'll end up flipping this corner right there. Dangerous here, so we're clearing this dead space, but this dude's all over here on the right side of the map. You see that threat angle is getting triggered, but I don't have the ability to cover him, so I'm sliding over simultaneously, and that's exactly why. So it's just one of those things. We have the luxury of this bird's eye view with perfect situational awareness. We have the ability to identify stuff like that as it happens. In the real world, clearly that's much more difficult. Now that we've got those guys established, we'll go ahead and bound forward. We're going to do a little mag check real quick. He's got 29 to 31, 18 to 31. He needs a mag. When we change magazines, we make sure our buddies know that we're changing magazines so that we don't all do it at the same time, so that everyone has security. You see that reoccurring theme of security popping up here. This is why we're taking it slow. We still see these threats kind of emerging from locations And as long as we've still got, the initiative, the ability to set control of the fight and set the pace of the operation, we're going to benefit from that. I, glean nothing and I get nothing out of charging around this corner just to die. So we're taking it slow, finding, the opportunity to engage targets, using those opportunities. And clearly this is the best cover available to me. So everyone else is also going to use it. There's also, of course, risk in getting bunched up. So you got to accept risk in some locations and in order to mitigate it elsewhere. So here we're choosing to accept risk by getting close together. We're mitigating it with cover, and because it's clearly the most advantageous piece of terrain available to us. Now here's where things are going to get a little bit spicy. These lawn chairs aren't going to provide any cover for us at all. Our next threat is this door in this corner. That's why we're going to take this in twos. This man's going to own the door. This man is going to own long. And we'll leave one tight. All right, we're going to leave one on the door and push long with two. Remember, we still have this battle position down here because, as these guys are realizing how we maneuver, I expect that they would attempt to maneuver against us. The best way for them to do that under these circumstances is going to just be able to rotate opposite our position, try to reposition on our flank. That's why we've got a blocking position to do that. Before we continue to press long here and clear this external structure in this garage, what we're going to do is put a gun on this door to lock it down. And once that occurs, we will again have set security sufficient to continue our operation. Next threat is this window, this door, and of course all this dead space up here. Having one operator pull corner and one pull long. They'll move together.
Alpha, go.
So that we can identify, or so that we can get guns on those threats simultaneously. I will have one work this pie, and the other one's going to maintain that window. I think that's the first. I think that's the first kind of injuries we've taken. We'll get into cover here, maintain this corner. Now the challenge is I'm running out of people because I have to hold this door. I have to hold this. Now I have to hold this open threat, but I need to get into this structure. Couple ways I can do it. I think I'm going to have Philly here take down this window. Typically we'd want to do this with a friend rather than wing it by ourselves. But I trust our boy to be able to get it done. All right. That breach is open. He's going to pie it from external. I think it's safe to say we got it. All right, so we cleared this room. We never even had to go inside of it. So big win there. Challenge here is I either have to commit to a two-man clear of this entire compound, which is not something that I want to do, or I have to pick it apart from the outside. I'm going to try to pick it apart from the outside. That is not an easy thing to do, but I think that's what I'm going to go for. Oof, and Minnow's hurt pretty good. So we're going to swing this way. Philly is going to maintain this threshold. Minnow's going to take his flank in this corner. Minnow will hold in position until Philly's online. They will move together.
Go.
Millie's going to... we're going to bang this. I'm going to switch them into cross coverage. So cross coverage here, I've got Minnow on the north side, I've got Philly on the south side. Cross coverage just mean, Philly is going to be covering the far angle. Minnow's also going to be covering his far angle. This gives us better geometry into these threat spaces. You can actually see more of the room by looking adjacent to you rather than to the near corner, so you're protecting your buddy's flank. We're going to do that, and then we're going to bang this, pan across, and clear both of these simultaneously, keeping in mind that this is a sheet metal gate that bullets can travel through, and you might even be able to see through it. Bang's going to go right here. Trying to find a way that won't completely jack up our homies. That'll do. There's the bang. We'll pie that. As we pie that, remember we're clearing for our buddies as well. So we'll do it like this. And then I'm curious as well whether or not I can see through that gate. Okay. Oh, man. All right, I think I'm going to start moving our BP up. The challenge now is, you know, we've got 4 dudes on this target. They are now occupying 50% of the map at different angles. So, these guys are 180 degrees opposite one another. Command and control becomes a challenge. It's easy in this game because we have a top-down perspective. We're able to look, with the eye in the sky and have perfect situational awareness. In real world, this is extremely difficult to conduct command and control of. These guys would need to know where their buddies are. There's a risk of, emerging around a corner and engaging one another, and, fratricide happens. You never ideally want to leave dudes sitting alone by themselves on the corner of compounds like this. They'd always be in buddy teams or more than that so that they can treat one another. They can, they can take care of each other and just generally provide support. When you leave dudes hanging out by themselves, it's a huge risk. And then similarly, we see the nature of combat and how we just ultimately run out of dudes to accomplish tasks. Here, I need to clear this external space. I need to clear this garage. I need to clear this whole dang compound. What I will say is once I get this clear and once I get this clear, this compound becomes a whole lot more manageable. So we are going to start working this now. I wonder if I was going to think wall shot into here. But I don't have it available. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my machine gunner up. The risk here is this and this. We're going to do it though. What a legend. This dude shot a Mark 48, like 3-round bursts, walking like 50 meters. And absolutely just wreck shop with it. You gotta love it. That's not possible. I mean, it's possible. It's unlikely. All right, I'm gonna keep moving this way because we're having some success. And everyone else is already committed. I think we're going to take fire from this garage once we come around this corner, so I'm going to be pretty careful here. Yep, damn it. That's what happens, boys. That is what happens. Damn it. Not a perfect run that I wanted, but hey, that's part of it. Good map design, though. Good map design. We'll go ahead and throw that charge there. I'm going to maintain security. I'm going to boot this. Single man clears are stupid. Don't do them. That's why you don't do them. Oh my god. All right, so now we don't have a choice. We've got to get the homies together. I'm like, as much as I would want to just quit and restart this because I think it's a bad demonstration. Those were like very clearly just sloppy mistakes. I'm going to keep it going because I think it's worthwhile. And, as frustrating as it is, I don't want to bullshit you guys with, my gamer proficiency. So we're just going to keep pushing. All right. We're going to frag this. We know there's a known threat in there. We'll frag it from far. You'd never want to throw a frag on top of your dead, dying, or wounded homie. We're going to bang from here. And then slide. Golly, I can't believe that was so freaking sloppy. Absolutely pissed at myself for that, but hey, it's part of it. All right, let's start working the interior of this compound. This isn't going to be a joke either. I have one bang. I have 2 more bangs here. I'm not going to bang this initial room because we've already had eyes on it for quite a while. But we will go ahead and just conduct a deliberate clearance of it. I'm comfortable with this corner. We've seen it recently. I'm comfortable with this corner. We've seen it recently. What we have not yet seen is this corner around here. All right, get back. We're going to get across coverage. This man is going to work the door. Not banging this one. I'm just going to fight it from the threshold in cross coverage. Hold it. That's a frag coming out towards us. We'll bail out. I think he just fragged himself. What a win for the home team. Let's go. Oof. Oof. We're just going to keep holding it here for a second. Let it breathe. No reason to push it until we're confident we've got the advantage. In fact, we're going to do this number. Interior wall shot would create a significant amount of blast overpressure, and if you're targeting load-bearing walls, might bring the entire structure down. But, my friends, this is door kickers. Breach is open. We're going to have him pan this. Looks good. This also gives us a new entry. Problem here is, so we created a center fed room, sort of, kind of a corner fed. I'm treating it like a center fed. And we'd want these guys to go in opposite directions. By going left, I triggered this angle, so I'm going to choose to strong wall it on the right side. Strong walling, meaning I'm just going to commit both my operators, both my assaulters, to this wall. So he's going to check this initially. As soon as he gets here, he's going to check long. Then he's going to check this corner. Then he's going to hold that angle. Here, he's going to hold this initially. Then he'll check center. And then he'll buddy up right there. When we pie and we have the luxury of standoff, we use it. That's why I'm backing off the door. Give him the advantage of this peek. Back into cross coverage. Looks good. We do still have some dead space right here. Clear. I'm going to bang this so that we can cross into cover. One man will pull security from the threshold, the other will push across. Then they'll slide together. Next threat's this open breach up top, so we're going to work that. Strangely enough, the best way for us to do that, very likely, is by coming along here. There's still dead space in there, that's why I'm putting a frag in it. Whew, that's close. Alright, we know there's a shooter in there. We still have 2 uncleared rooms and a room that we've lost security on here that could have very well been reoccupied. With that in mind, because we know we have a shooter in there, I think I'm going to work this room first and then come at his flank. If I had a wall shot, I would use it, but we don't. I'm going to have this lead man kick it. As he kicks, 2-man's going to pie it. He'll take the room. Center check on entry, corner. Collapse it down. And then reorient on his sector. This man's going to pause for 1 second to get his buddy time to get in the room. Take 1, and then we'll actually just hold corner. Center check on entry, his corner. Long, and collapse. See if he keeps... Yep. He's going to do it again. We're going to wait for that next reload this time. Alright, he's done. Boot's going to go there. Bang's going to go right behind it. Let's see how that goes. This is going to be tough to time. Oh, this could be bad.
Alpha, go.
Yep. Pie it with the lead man. Second man holds short in the threshold. I'm going to prep with a frag right here. And boys, we've got 1 unaccounted for somewhere. Following the frag in, going long. Basically running the rabbit here. 1 man goes long, 1 man holds short. The lateral movement's intended to create a harder target to engage, giving the near man the opportunity to engage the threat. All right, the only sliver of dead space I'm looking at that, I think someone could be hiding in is right over here. So we're going to go ahead and push that, I suppose. We're going to high-low this or do the door kicker's equivalent. Present 2 dudes around the corner simultaneously to get 2 guns in the fight at the same time.
Alpha, go.
And we are victorious. Sloppy run, lost 2 guys that I didn't need to lose. Some of that's, just user error. Some of that's also just the nature of trying to conduct an assault on a target of this size with a very small force while also trying to maintain security on all the known and suspected threats on the battlefield. If you guys did enjoy it, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. And if you haven't yet purchased Door Kickers, go ahead and grab a copy off the game store now. And I appreciate each of you guys who consider doing that. Door Kickers is looking phenomenal. It's approaching its, ultimate version 1.0 release. We don't know exactly when that will be, but I have a feeling it is not too far now. It's been pretty quiet on the Door Kickers front for a while. That's likely because the devs are ironing out all of those nice finishing touches and achieving the polish that they're ready to launch a full release. So thanks for watching. I'm Controlled Pairs. This has been Door Kickers 2, and I'll see you guys in the next one.